305. Between their feet. He knew only that the sudden and incongruous smell of Old Spice stick deodorant, classic original scent, good choice, unbidden and unexplainable, his late obstetric, Papa's brand, not smelled for years, and the tiny panicked twitters with which Withdrawal's ants skittered glossily up into his mouth and nose and disappeared, each, of course, taking its tiny pierced farewell bite as it went, augured some new and vivider exhibit on the corridor's horizon. He'd become, at puberty, violently allergic to the smell of Old Spice. As he soiled himself in the plastic seat and floor once again, the classic scent of times past intensified. Then poor Tony's body began to swell. He watched his limbs become airy white dirigibles and felt them deny his authority and detach from him and float sluggishly up snout first into the steel mill sparks of the ceiling rained. He suddenly felt nothing, or rather nothing, a pre-tornadic silliness of zero sensation, as if he were the very space he occupied. Then he had a seizure. Footnote 103. The floor of the subway car became the ceiling of the subway car, and he was on his arched back in a waterfall of light, gagging on Old Spice and watching his tumid limbs tear ass around the car's interior like undone balloons. The booming zuckung, zuckung, zuckung was his high heels' drumming on the soiled floor's tile. He heard a rushing train roar that was no train on earth, and felt a vascular rushing, that until the pain hit seemed like the gathering of a kind of orgasm in the head. His head inflated hugely and creaked as it stretched, inflating. Then the pain, seizures hurt, which is what few civilians have occasion to know, was the sharp end of a hammer. There was a squeak and a rush of release inside his skull, and something shot from him up into the air. He saw Bobby C's blood misting upward in the hot wind of the Copley blower. His father knelt beside him on the ceiling in a well-rendered sleeveless tee, extolling the Red Sox of Rice and Lynn. Tony wore summer taffeta. His body flopped around without okay from HQ. He didn't feel one bit like a puppet. He thought of a gaffed fish. The gown had 1,000 flounces and a saucy bodice of lace crochet. Then he saw his father, green-gowned and rubber-gloved, leaning to read the headlines off the skin of a fish a newspaper had wrapped. That had never happened. The largest print headline said, "Push." Poor Tony flopped and gasped and pushed down inside, and the utter red of the blood that feeds sight bloomed behind his fluttering lids. Time wasn't passing so much as kneeling beside him in a torn T-shirt disclosing the rodent-nosed tits of a man who disdains care of his once comely bod. Poor Tony convulsed and drummed and gasped and fluttered, a fountain of light all around him. He felt a piece of nourishing and possibly even intoxicating meat in the back of his throat, but elected not to swallow it, but swallowed it anyway, and was immediately sorry he did. When his father's bloody rubbered fingers folded his teeth back to retrieve the tongue he'd swallowed, he refused absolutely to bite down ungratefully on the hand. All right, that was page 305. I found my bookmark.